Hello, this is Planners, and this time I'm gonna bring you three engagements with destroyers. People don't actually like destroyers much, but I actually find them quite fun to fly. In the first engagement, I jump into Hemen, and I see a Mauler 80 kilometers away. Um, a Mauler is really not a good matchup against the destroyer because it has not only lots of tank, it has three mids. If it has the standard fit for a mauler, like a web, a scram, and a micro drive, I will be dead. I won't have any chance. So for this engagement, I need backup. And a wonderful thing on Eve is that you can cheat as much as you can. For my backup, I choose to bring my other tune in a executor. Hopefully the executor, now with after the redistribution patch, will be able to keep me alive for long enough to kill the Mauler. Still, I cannot forget that I am on a very fragile ship, so I need to make sure that I can dictate where the engagement is going to happen. I need the engagement to take place near the gate so I can immediately jump in with my executor and get reps on me. The Mauler that was 80 kilometers away from the gate now warped to a ping or to a tactical 220 off, and he warps down. He actually typed in local, he wants to have a 1v1 against me, so this means that he's ready to go. I'm just approaching. I want to make sure he does not jump through the gate in order to see what's on the other side. So I'm like 40 kilometers away from the gate. This way he will not feel tempted to jump to the other side and chase me. That's the last thing I want to do, is for him to jump, so I actually take a quick look at him. Have an idea where he's going. He's going towards me, that's good. Okay, started to target me, and I think it's time to go for it. I check his drones real fast. He has warriors, so I'm not too worried about it. If he had ECM drones, I had to get on those ECM drones as fast as possible. I jump in my ult a bit too soon, though I'm just making him hold cloak. I need to get traps on the catalyst as fast as I can. I'm scrammed. He's starting to shoot at me. He's actually missing. Not so much now. My reps are on. And right now, what seemed an easy gang for the Mauler became a battle pretty much impossible to win on this side. I'm gonna speed up the engagement for this part. A very important detail is that the Mauler has no web. So as you can check on the lower right corner of the screen on the log, his guns are completely missing me, only the drones are hitting. So with a bit of luck during the approach, I could actually have killed this Mauler without backup from the executor. That's an important info. Oh, and it seems I was not the only one with a backup plan. A second Mauler just arrives, although from a different corp. He also quickly targets and aggresses me. The damage incoming from the second Mauler is quite significant at first. Here, it is my opinion that the second Mauler made a mistake. I'm still not webbed, so the second Mauler also has no web, and he has approached me within 1500. His guns are missing me too. So the second Mauler is really not helping much. He's not doing a good job. I could get a scram on him when the first goes down, and here is the most critical part from the whole engagement. When the Mauler is more than 5 kilometers away from me, he's able to strip all my armor in just like one shot. Therefore, the sooner I approach him and the sooner I get the close orbit, the better for me. I'm gonna speed up again the engagement, really nothing, I'm just finishing him off. A lot of tank though, it takes a bit, I have to recharge the ammo from the guns. A new player arrives in a tactical near the gate, like 300 off the gate. Let's see what he does. Arbitrator whoops down to the gate at 0. That is a potential threat to my Executor. Last thing I want is my Executor to get tackled by another cruiser. If he does, I have absolutely no chance of saving it. So I just begin guiding with my Executor around, although you can't really see it on in this perspective. The arbitrator locks up. He's probably just assessing the whole situation, see if he can ninja on something or see if it's worth engaging somebody. But fortunately, or not, he just decides to jump out without any real interference in the match. The second Mauler goes down shortly after, and the match is over. Though this was a very funny engagement because we both had backup plans, and I'm happy this one turned my way. For the second engagement, I also used the catalyst, and it is pretty much the most basic engagement you can have to in order to kill a interdictor, a light interdictor. I arrive on a gate at the same time an interdictor, and I immediately start to burn away. I actually want the interdictor to chase me, but unfortunately it's taking too long to decide and come and chase me. At this point, I do not know what's on the other side of the gate. Might as well be a gang there, I have no idea. So I'm just gonna burn away a bit. But unfortunately, he's not taking the bait. He's not chasing me. He's just sitting there, 0 on the gate, and that is actually a good move on his part. He's not playing my game. I actually hate when they do that. And he jumps out. Instead of coming, try to kill the juicy catalyst, he just decides to jump out. But knowing how interdictal pilots are, he's just probably on the other side waiting for me to jump through. Uh, Although I do not know what's on the other side, I'm gonna take a chance. It does not belong to any alliance or any corp I know, so I'm gonna gamble it and I'm gonna risk it, and I'm gonna assume he's alone. I load grid, and as expected, the light dictator is waiting for me, trying to catch me. So I'm gonna play the same game again. I'm just gonna burn away and make him chase me. Overload my guns, overload my scram. Unfortunately, shortly after, he decides to stop chasing me. Since this is an heretic, he has very low DPS, I don't really mind brawling with him, so I just turn back, approach him, and hope for the best. You'll notice he was way behind the DPS race. He was already 50% shields before even giving me any sort of damage, so I was not really worried. And he blows up shortly after with the end for the match. Before moving on to the next match, I just like to comment about the ammo I use on the catalyst. I always use null ammo against small stuff, against frigates and against destroyers. I only use void against cruisers or bigger, and the reason is that null ammo has the potential to apply damage up to 10 kilometers, even more. Also, the catalyst lacks the ability to dictate range. Although he has a scrambler, uh, there is no third mid slot for a web. You cannot force the range upon your opponent. It is very hard to force distance upon your opponent. And since your targets will be small stuff that move fast, it is very, very likely that your prey, you and your prey, will be far apart from each other, 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers. It is very often to just lose your propulsion far outside the void or antimatter range. As for the fit, it's pretty straightforward. So neutrons, light neutrons on the highs, scramble, microdrive, couple off, max steps in the lows, and the damage control also for tank. It's the only tank it's got. The rigs are here the weirdest part, and the reason is it's because I just had a bunch of light neutron blasters in my hangar. I just wanted to use them, so I just put the necessary rigs to in order to use those light neutron blasters. You can make an equal fit with ions and proper rigs with damage rigs, but this one works just fine as well. For the last engagement on this video, I decided to bring out a recording I made with a Dragoon. It's one of the new destroyers that came out in the last batches, and as far as I know, it's not a very popular ship. Um, Nevertheless, I wanted to give it a shot. As for the fit, I am using a Dragoon with damage control and a 400 millimeter plate, so the biggest plate you can put on a destroyer basically. A couple of drone damage dealers, drone damage amplifiers, 3 nudes, 125 millimeter 125 millimeter autocannons. They don't spend cap and have very little requirements to fit on a ship. And the most important part are really the rigs, especially the small semiconductor memory cells. And the idea of these rigs is to try and give the Dragoon some sort of cap stability. As for the engagement, I was roaming solo in my Dragoon, looking for something I could kill. Being a destroyer, and a destroyer that has actually very low DPS, I was looking for an isolated prey. I'm looking to isolate a frigate, nuke it, and kill it, chew it over some time, while at the same time tanking whatever the damage the frigate might be giving me. I finally see a jaguar and a Cerberus camping a bubble, camping a drag bubble near a regional gate, with some wrecks also nearby. And I want to try to kill the jaguar, but with the Cerberus there, that's a no-go. Nevertheless, I do not want to sit on a tactical and just do nothing. So I devise a plan, and my plan is walk to a wreck at range, burn away towards the Celestial, and see what happens. I will already point out a mistake I'm making, and that is the ammo I've got loaded in my guns. I've got EMP ammo loaded, and if my target is the Jaguar, I should have phased plasma loaded. Unfortunately, I also do not have phased plasma in my cargo hold, and that's another mistake. Just realized that too late, but well, next time. I actually miscalculated the distance I should warp on the wreck, and I end up too close. I immediately tried to burn away, but my ship is stopped. I stayed there stopped for a couple seconds, uh, and to compensate that I need to overload away from the Jaguar. He's approaching fast. Let's engage. I just keep burning away with my launch my drones to make the job. And suddenly the Cerberus goes away. I have no idea why. Uh, and now it's just me and the Jaguar. So it's time to take the opportunity. I reapproach the Jaguar and try to scramble it, as well apply some neuting pressure. A couple seconds after, his backup arrives in the form of a hawk. Fortunately, it lands 60 kilometers away, giving me some precious extra time to continue to chew the Jaguar. My newts are actually being effective because he's not scramming me. I can bail out at any time, so I just align away and hope to kill the Jaguar before the hawk reaches me. Unfortunately, it's taking too much time and I do not want to warp away before I get this kill. So I just hope for the best. Jaguar dies, I try to warp off, and I'm tackled by the hawk. I have no choice other than to engage the hawk also, and I just want to go away. I just want to warp off, so I apply neuting pressure on the hawk and hit my micro drive to make the most range I can. The Cerberus has come back. That's bad news for me. The Cerberus was also pointing me, and I'm out just as I ran out of cap, and just as I was reaching hole, deep hole. So goodbye. Before finishing up the video, I'd like to take a word about cap management. And this is the moment where all electronic warfare from the Jaguar ceases to have an effect on me. The long point he had suddenly is gone, and this is because the Jaguar is kept out dry. Although I did turned off the overload on the three newts, that was not good enough as a measure for a decent cap management. I should have turned off two of the newts. Since the Jaguar is neuted, one newt on top of him would keep him that way, without the ability to put his long point back onto me, and at the same time it would save precious cap for me, because I don't really have any sort of cap injection. I need all the cap I can save. Looking back, I did a very poor job at cap management, and that is also why the memory cells, the rigs are so important. They actually saved me. Without those two rigs, I would have definitely kept out way sooner and would have been unable to warp off. Okay, that's all. See you next time.